Hallowed be the name. Lord, you.
Well, this is Family Connection Network, and we want to say thank you so much and welcome to this edition. I'm so sorry for the interruption. I'm using my phone to play you some music, and this is our theme song. As we always say, we just want to welcome you to this special edition again. And today we have with us someone has been here many times. I think this should be his third or fourth time. Stand to be corrected. And we'll be looking at some very important issues. This issue of dual citizenship in Liberia. I know this decision was rendered by the Supreme Court sometime back. I don't know why the Ministry of Justice is now raising the issue. There have been few months ago that this decision was reached. And we also be looking at the education system in Liberia. Our guest today have been a professor in Liberia. We want to see what is the education system is. We also look at 2023. Do Liberia have an alternative, or should they stay where they are? Until then, we just want to say welcome those who just joining us.
I woke up strong on a Monday. I go to gym on a Tuesday. Then to the studio on Wednesday. I work it out till Thursday morning. I be chilling on a Friday. I play some shows on Saturday. If you ask me what my best day is, it's when I praise you on Sunday morning. I got my throat in my mind.
We want to say thank you so much for joining us. We want to say welcome. Our two colleagues, Ben and Levi, are not here today. Not sure, maybe within a program. Levi may join in on that due to some reason that it cannot be here today. But hey, the program will have to go on. Brother Joy, we want to say thank you so much for coming back and welcome. You need to unmute from your end, Joy. I think you are muted.
Okay, thank you, and hello to everybody in internet land.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I know you've been here several times in time past. And by the way, Joy is a resident of New Jersey. He worked with people with special needs, people with special need, I would say. He's a legal mind. He went to school in Liberia. He got his law degree from the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. And he also attended one of the prestigious universities in the States. He went to Princeton University to get his master's. So he know what he's speaking about tonight legally. And we depend on his legal judgment to help us look at this whole issue of dual citizenship. Am I correct, Joy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to say thank you so much. By the way, it's been a while. How are you doing in family?
I'm doing fine. I think at the time we met, at the time COVID had initially hit, but I think we've gotten adjusted now. Everybody hit the arrangement, and I think things are moving fine as we should.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And to our many followers, those who join us tonight, we just want to let you know that this is Family Connection Network, a forum where we share life-changing experiences and stay connected. So if you have a comment as the conversation proceeds, drop us a comment. We'll be able to read those comments to our guests to attempt to answer them. Until then, we just want to start this ball rolling. Joe, this, as I said very earlier, we're looking at 3 points tonight. Dual citizenship, education system in Liberia. Come 2023, do Liberians have alternative in change of leadership, or should they stay where they are? So let us look at this whole dual citizenship thing. Draw through it. Because I remember there was a Supreme Court ruling. I don't have it handy right now, which has been, I think, if not, it should be some 3 or 6 months ago that this ruling came down. Why is the Justice Ministry now making emphasis on that? And by the way, tell us first and foremost what the ruling was all about.
So the ruling was about this guy they call Arvin T. Jallo. He was denied, I think, a passport, and he has admitted that he's a Liberian citizen. And the guy said that he's a U.S. citizen, and because he admitted that he's a U.S. citizen or had a U.S. passport, the guy said that they could not give him a Liberian passport. So he's a lawyer, he's a lawyer. Jallo is a lawyer too, a Liberian lawyer. And so he disagreed with them. I think whether he was trying to file a case against them or have standing, usually before you can go to the court, you must have standing. So that created standing for him now to challenge the law. So Arvin decided and say, okay, that I don't agree with you guys denying me the right to have access to the passport on the basis because I say I'm a U.S. citizen. So he took up the case with the Supreme Court. And the case was at the Supreme Court for almost 9 years. It was there. And the Supreme Court decided to look into his arguments. So his arguments, number one, was that there cannot be automatic loss of citizenship. All right. One, he said that the alien nationality law. So they have a law they call the alien nationality law. Now, to be very clear for those who listen to us, the issue of dual citizenship is not really addressed in the Constitution. Where it is really addressed is in what they call the alien and nationality law. Now, the alien nationality law was enacted by the legislature in the 70s. And that law governs citizenship, immigration, and all the things you can think about. So under that law, it says that when you take another citizenship, you lost your citizenship. When you serve in another foreign army, you lost your citizenship. So those were acts that you take. So automatically, when you come to the U.S. and you decide and say, I want to join the U.S. Army, under that law, you lost your citizenship. Or if you decide and say, I want to be a U.S. citizen, a Canadian citizen, or a Nigerian citizen, you lost your citizenship. So Arvin T. Jallo challenged the law. They went to the court and the court agreed with him. The Supreme Court said, yes, that under Article 20 of our Constitution, you cannot deprive somebody of property, privilege, or any rights until there is a hearing, there's a due process. So the Supreme Court said that those provisions in the alien nationality law were null and void because they did not give the person who lost his citizenship due process of law. So that was basically the decision.
So are we saying that the Constitution supersedes the alien nationality law?
Yes, the Constitution supersedes the alien nationality law. So in order of laws, whenever the legislature is making a law, they have to make sure that law is consistent with the Constitution. So in Liberia, one of the problems we have is many times when they're making those laws, there's no much like in other countries you find where they have professionals who will be able to analyze the law for the legislators. They will analyze that law, tell them some of the conflict, tell them some of the issues. In Liberia, many times they don't do or go through all the processes. Somebody will just get a bill, bam, 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 bam. They have one or two hearings on the bill, bam, bam, bam. They pass it. So that's what can happen usually in Liberia. So many times they will fix a law, and that law many times will always be inconsistent with the Constitution. So the alien nationality law was inconsistent with the Constitution, according to the Supreme Court.
Great. So according to you, Brother Jallo went to the Supreme Court, and this issue stayed there 9 years. At the end of the day, there was a ruling. And indeed, the alien nationality law does not hold in his case. It means he won the case.
Yes.
So, it's been almost, I think, 3 to 6 months. And recently, we just saw a letter from the Minister of Justice to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, letting Foreign Affairs to know that even people who have American passports should be authorized to own a Liberian passport. Why did the Justice Ministry write such a letter?
So the Justice Ministry, usually when it comes to enforcement of the law, so to be frank with you, under the Alien Nationality Act, the Justice Ministry play a major role when it comes to the enforcement of that law. So they are actually the body that can challenge you to say you want to lose your citizenship. So that's one of the important role the Ministry of Justice have there. Now, although the ruling have been long ago and they said that, to be frank with you, there are two purposes there. One, they have a legal purpose to do that. All right. So under Liberian law, they have what we call a prosecutorial discretion. So in other words, you have the judiciary, they interpret the law, the legislature make the law, and you have the executive branch of government. But the executive branch of government will look at her resources. She can decide what law to enforce and what law not to enforce. They have that power to do that. So if you see the justice minister writing an official letter now, number one, not only that he's politically he's telling, the justice ministry has two purposes, especially the minister of justice, two purposes he has. Not only that he's a defender of the law, but he's also there to carry on political policy of the president. Now, Joe Weah is clear on this issue. One of the things he has been clear on, to his credit, is that he supports dual citizenship. All right, George Weah supports dual citizenship. So apparently, he realized that the ruling here, to some extent, support his own argument he's been making for the dual citizenship. So he authorized his justice minister and say, hey, I want you to, make this letter, send this letter to the foreign affairs minister, telling him that, he need to make sure that this letter is giving effect to all the embassies around the world. So there's a political purpose there and there's a legal purpose. But to be frank with you, the justice ministry have a discretion what law to enforce. And so what they are saying, that letter is saying to us now, is that the justice ministry is no longer going to be enforcing any law that would deprive a Liberian who has maybe a dual citizenship. That's what they are saying.
Okay, if the Constitution support dual citizenship, why then did the government of Liberia include a referendum for dual citizenship?
Now, the current Constitution has there's a clause. There are three clauses in the Constitution that deal with citizenship. Article 27, Article 28. They deal with citizenship. Now, the only area where the Constitution is clear about dual citizenship is when a person who is born have one of their parents that is not a Liberian. All right. If you look at the Constitution from Article 27 going on Article 28, you will see there that it talks about any person who is born, one of whose parent is a citizen of another country, will have, when they reach to the age of majority, they will have to make a decision, take some affirmative action to renounce one of the citizenship. You understand? So under the Constitution, the only people that are affected by the whole dual citizenship issue are those who parents, at the time they were born, the parent, for example, I have a Nigerian. Let's think, for example, you have a Nigerian father, and your mother is a Liberian. You were born to that Nigerian father. You are born to that Liberian mother. Under the Constitution, it says when you reach the age of 18, you are to renounce one of the citizenship. But the Constitution does not address the issue of those whose parents are natural born Liberians. So I'm Joel Koli Tamba Bimba, born unto Mr. and Mrs. Elizabeth K. Bimba, father Liberian, mother Liberian. The Constitution does not deny me the right to have citizenship or dual citizenship. So under the current Constitution, the argument that those of us who are on the other side are making is that the present Constitution does not say that a Liberian, a natural born Liberian whose both parents are Liberians, can lose citizenship. That's the argument. And that is why you remember the last time when we're looking at the propositions, the referendum, I said that those propositions are not better. The current Constitution as it is far better. It protects natural born Liberian with two parents who are Liberians more than that proposed referendum. And that is exactly what happened here with the decision of the Supreme Court.
So can we conclude that there's no need for referendum? Where we are would be more better than even doing anything beyond that. Am I correct?
To be frank, there is no need for referendum. What the legislature need to do is to go back over there and redraft the law and to be clear about what they did, because the mistake they made there, if you look at the ruling, is the legislature was talking about automatic forfeiture of your citizenship. That's what they were doing there, automatic forfeiture. All right. So now they need to go back there and they can make law, because I listened to the Senate Pro Tem the last time. He's supposed to have citizenship. All they need to go there is to just make it clear about natural born Liberians with two parents, and protect them in the alien nationality law. That's what they need to do, But if they do anything contrary, I'm very confident if it goes to the Supreme Court again, it will be stricken off.
So what happened with non-born Liberian? Let's assume a Lebanese man want to be a citizen of Liberia. They are not protected under the current constitution, correct?
Not at all. So one of the things about the Liberian constitution, if you look at Liberian history, is the fact that the Liberia was funded for the free slaves resettlement. And so as an integral part of the Liberian constitution, there were always the protection for Negro descent. So if you have to be a citizen of Liberia, you must have that Negro descent in you, that Negro blood. There's no way you can be a citizen of Liberia without a Negro descent. The current constitution do not protect those who are not non-Negroes.
Is that racism?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah, that's racism.
So
okay.
we need to repeal that part of the constitution where people, whether Negro descent or non-Negro descent, should have the opportunity to be Liberian citizen, or else they will tell me that's a racist country.
That's an important argument. And the argument has two sides. Now, one of the issue is the issue of the economics, all right, of the country. Now, there are those who argue that by giving non-Negroes citizenship, automatically the current situation in Liberia going to be worse in terms of economic disadvantages for those who are Negroes. And the argument some people have raised is that the Lebanese currently control the Liberian economy, although they are not Liberian citizens. They control so many things in the Liberian economy, though they are not citizens. And so people believe that if you give them citizenship, it's going to create a very mass divide in terms of economic inequality. So they'll be deciding the politics of the country. They'll be deciding the land ownership in Liberia will be solely in their hand now, and a lot of other things will be happening alongside. So those are the fears that some people have. So for me, we can move it, but you have to consider why this clause was put there. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Whether the country at this point in time is ready for a non-Negro descent. And those are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Or you want to look at upper parts of Africa, for example, you want to look at South Africa. What happens in South Africa? What's happening in South Africa? Because that's a common example of a few minority of people who have a lot of power in South Africa. Look at the situation in South Africa. Look at Liberia. If you decide to make a law where you help Liberia, what are the benefits? But I don't have a problem with changing it and saying, you can allow, a non-Negro to become a citizen.
Thank you so much. We have with us tonight Joel Bema, who is trying to give us some clarity on this issue of dual citizenship. If you are following us around the world and wherever you are, drop us a comment, drop us your question, and we'll be able to post that to Brother Bema. But Brother Bema, I think we need to shift gear to the educational system in Liberia. Mm-hmm. Before you move into the States, you had the opportunity to teach as a professor in a college in Liberia. And tell us, you look at the educational system in America, and I know you are still in contact with people down on the ground, some of your former students, some other people. What is the educational system like in Liberia today?
I think the education system in Liberia is having huge challenges, all right? For example, there are some advantages we have in Liberia. I will admit some advantages. For example, we have people really having a desire to learn. There are so many Liberian children, that desire. The desire to learn, you go to places, you see children will walk distance to go to school. Children will go to school, sometimes hungry, no food. You get the kind of children, in Liberia. and then also the behavior. You see the behavior in the classroom, the way a Liberian student behave in the class, that discipline. I've worked in, when I came here, I did substitute teaching in schools here. I see behavior is that there's a big difference there with how students here behave. I think the issue of discipline, those are a lot of good advantages we have in Liberia. But I think one of the challenges I see is we have a real system problem from the primary education all the way to the secondary education. How can we make sure, for example, accreditation of schools? How can we make our schools to be uniform and having the same standards? Elementary education, pre-K education, elementary education, secondary education, tertiary education. I think we have not put much resources into our education system to really get it to be where it is. There's not much resource put in the system, and because of that, our educational system is actually downward. I taught in Liberia, and I had the opportunity to come here. I went to school in Liberia, and I had the opportunity to go in school in Liberia, and I can see you can see the difference. There's no question. When I took my law classes at Penn State, I could see the difference. I can see the in-depth, the professors, how in-depth they are. I can see how many resources I have access to. I can see how my level of reading, how it went way up, I have to adjust to the level of reading, the capacity of reading. It went way up. And then my technology skills, I have to double up and make sure I was on top of it with my technology skills. And I was thinking, I remember there was a friend of mine, I just want to say this, I was not calling him. He got a scholarship from University of Liberia to do a master's education here. Now, he came here and started the classes. Apparently, he had challenges, real challenges. And then people say, normally people would say, oh, they bewitched the man. So people say, oh, they bewitched the man. The man started getting sick and whatever. He could not make it with the tension. But what I observed was that the level of work and what he needed to do was massive. And he was not really oriented to adjusting and saying, no, I need to adjust and really withstand the pressure. And the education program he was in, it was just bombarding him. That guy got sick all throughout where he was here. And guess what happened? They have to let him go. He went back to Liberia, and that scholarship wasted, because he could not make it with the studies and the reading and whatever. I'm not saying that all Liberians cannot make it, but to be frank, and I would say to anybody, the number of Liberians that can compete out of the education system in Liberia, there are not many. That just clear cut. And those who can really compete outside Liberia, you must have strong foundation in Liberia. It means you are really competing in Liberia, and you're really somebody who can withstand the pressure. And that brother went back to Liberia, who lost that scholarship. And then there's another girl too who came again for a master's in economics. The same thing. There were two of them. My other colleague, he was able to withstand the pressure, and he graduated. The other lady, she could not make it. And it's not that, and the real reason was the foundation was not there. How to write your papers, how to be able to analyze a text. Those are not things that in the Liberian education from the beginning of our education system today, and we don't have it. In fact, to even write composition, even at the high school level, you don't have teachers, English teachers who are really teaching composition and writing. Not many of them are there. Not many, even in college, you don't even have it. So you have people graduate without those skills. And if they come here now, it becomes a very tough thing, to make it in the system. Now, and I always tell people, if we build our education system back home, it will help the country economy. And I always make a practical example. For example, you see the Indians. Now, when the Indians come here, they are able to become medical doctors easily. They're able to become computer engineers easily. And the reason they're becoming computer engineers, not because of the American educational system, is because from their countries, they already have a strong foundation that when they come here, it's easy for them to compete at an ease. That is the disadvantage we have. Okay. And we need to work on that.
You talk about building our educational system back home. I also had the opportunity to go to school back home. And I came here, I went to school here. I know what you're talking about. And at the time I attended the University of Liberia, talking about 2000, in a 2000, 2003, the University of Liberia, the microcosm of a larger society, in a library, I think on the second floor, I think has 6 computers. It means that 6 computers is like students are sitting in a queue to go in and check their emails. There was an internet cafe on campus, which was owned by one of the professors. I think one lady who was teaching the management classes. You know,
Yeah.
Mrs. White, something like that.
Yeah, Ray. I
You
think
didn't have
Kuba
to
Ray,
go there.
something like that. Yeah.
Never. And there was a course that is called MAV 108, right? That's iteration programming. Students go to do a class that has to do with computer and do not see computer.
Mhm.
How can you write a code? How can you write a coding and you don't see computer to implement that? So I understand where you speak from. What would be your suggestion? How do we build the education system? Because you can tell me that we start from the university. No, it's not going to work.
It's not gonna work.
What would be your suggestion in our direction?
I think we need to go back to the pre-K education. We need to work on our early childhood education. We need to structure and put in more resources, because the more resources we have for our early childhood education, it will help us a lot. So, for example, training the teachers, curriculum development, implementation, making sure that they get the necessary resources, accreditation. Now, one of the problems I've been having is that I'm having problem with building too many schools. And so we have to work on quality and not too much of access. So like I noticed even the Jawia government, he also tried to do access, all right? Free education, when Ellen Johnson selling, they build multiple schools. Take, for example, Lofa County. Can we have, for example, a regional high school in Lofa County, technical high school education in Lofa County, for example, one major one there? And then at a different district level, can you have strong junior high schools that will feed that particular high school? So children leave from the high school from the different district to go to that particular high school. Can we work on that? So we need to go back to our early childhood education, work on the early childhood education, training teachers, training people in those various areas, and make sure we run an effective program at the early childhood education level. But if we are not working on doing that, it becomes difficult for us to have a change. We need to focus on early childhood education. That's where we need to begin from.
I agree with you. If you are out there and following us, this is Family Connection Network, the forum where we share life-changing experiences and stay connected. Tonight, I got with me Joe Abimba, who has been in the education sector and also a legal mind. He had the opportunity to attend Penn State, so get his master's right here in the U.S. So he know what the education system in Liberia look like and what it look like in America. He gave us real experience that not everybody who goes to school in Liberia can survive the educational system in America. Correct?
100%. 100%.
Who will you recommend for the American school system who had the foundation in Liberia, who claim to have gone to school in Liberia?
Yes, there are a lot of good students in Liberia, and there are some good schools in Liberia. To be frank with you, there are schools in Liberia that try their best to make the students. Now, if I were in Liberia and if you're wanting to make sure that the children in Liberia get good education, send your child to a school where the principal of the school is well educated. They have everybody in the subject areas. In every subject area, they will have somebody at most a bachelor's level. That's the kind of school you need to be sending your child to in Liberia. Do not send your child to school where somebody in high school is teaching high school chemistry and have a high school. You don't want to do that in Liberia. You don't want to do that. You want to see that the school have a very strong policy against bribery. There's no bribery in the school. All right. The teachers are well paid, meaning that the teachers are well paid. The principal is on top of time, on top of things with those students. Now, students in those schools, to a greater extent, they will be able to survive outside of Liberia. The school, there's no bribery. The teachers are well qualified. For example, if your child is doing biology, the teacher in that school might have a bachelor's in biology. They might have a bachelor's in chemistry, bachelor's in physics, mathematics. Those are the schools you need to be selecting in Liberia to send your children. And you also must make sure that they have a library. There's a library, not just a library, joking library, a well-developed library. There are schools in Liberia that have those. For example, Convent has a very good library. I think Riggs, I've seen that. There are some schools in Liberia that have good principles and things are in place. Now, those schools, the children in those schools, to a greater extent, will have advantage when they leave Liberia. To a greater extent, they will have advantage. But those schools that you find where you have 100 students in the classroom, that's a big red flag. Those schools where you see the standards teachers are selling grades, nobody get no supervision, that's a recipe for chaos. I'm not saying students from those schools can't make it, but the students from those schools that will really make it, the number of them that will make it will be very, very, very narrow. All right. At schools where you see the teachers are sleeping with the students. You don't want to get there. In high school, but you don't want to send your children to organized schools. You don't want to do that.
Joy, but you find out that even the parents support their children. They try to talk to the instructor, talk to the teacher, bribe the teacher so the student can pass. What do you make of that?
It's a culture that have been built in Liberia. So one of the things I noticed in Liberia, there's a mindset, and the mindset has been that there's nothing for nothing in Liberia, meaning that success depend on, you have to give somebody something. And I think parents, generation from since the Civil War, I want to believe, because before the Civil War, I heard a lot of good things about what happened, but that mindset, it has crept into the whole educational system in Liberia, to the extent that parents themselves, because here's how it operates. If you are a parent and you were able to bribe your way through, you also going to tell your children the same thing. So that's the cycle that's happened. It's a generational issue now, So there's a generational of people who they grew up, they have their children, they did those very things, and they believe that those things, they owe it to their success. But like I always tell people, if you decide to make bribery, if you decide to support your children bribery, the consequences are huge, But I will also admit, like in America here, there are Liberians, who went to good schools in Liberia, and some of them are medical doctors here, And when I try to look at their backgrounds and look at the high schools they went to, many of them, they went to very good high schools back in Liberia. I've been trying to analyze and try to take a note. There are a lot of Liberians here who have made it they have become medical doctors. Some of them are lawyers. Some of them are nurses. Like I have one of my former students back at UMU. She has a bachelor's in nursing. She did her nursing with the Ganta School of Nursing. She also graduated from Smart Institute, but she did her A and she came to UMU and she did some courses in my department. She sat the nursing board exam and at first try she passed. No question. First try, she didn't go to school in America, never went to any school in America. She sat the nursing board exam. I encouraged her, I said, hey, you can make it. She sat the nursing board exam at one try and she smacked it. She's now licensed in New Jersey and she's licensed in California.
Great.
See what I'm talking about? Now, I try to analyze her background. I try to do deep back in her background, just to see how she managed. Few things that I saw she went to a very good high school in Liberia. Besides that, I taught her personally, and in my classes, she was never, she was not never giving any excuses. She was right there with things. So I saw the results. So to be frank with you, there are Liberians in Liberia that can make it, but you have to be extremely disciplined. You must have a self-discipline because the system in Liberia itself doesn't encourage people. But you, the student, as an individual, must have a lot of self-discipline. And you must try to be around schools or teachers, professors that will challenge you. Now, even at the University of Liberia, there are good professors. Even at AMU, UMU, there are good professors. But one of the things I noticed, students always try to avoid the challenging and tough professors. You know, when I was in law school at the University of Liberia, the current dean, I always like him, and people, you know, they call him Nibali Warner. He's been one of my favorite professors. I always talk about him. This guy is tough. He doesn't joke with his law classes. If you miss 1 or 2 classes, you are out of Nibali class. He doesn't joke with you. You come to class, you must be ready. And because of that, you know how many persons needs to be in Nibali class? Only sometimes 3 persons, 3 students in Nibali class. And you have 100 or 50 students in another professor class and running away from Nibali. Not that he was bad, but all because Nibali was disciplined. And I went through his rigor. When I came here, I realized that, okay, that was the best decision. So when you're doing courses at the University of Liberia, do not run away from challenging professors. Those who are not asking you for money, those who just want to teach the material, they want to just, don't run away from them. Stay in those classes. You will never regret it.
Thank you so much. Because you went through a vigorous training on a tough professors that what got you to where you are. That what made you to succeed through Penn State University. So we can say you graduated from what? CWA? What?
Yes, I went to CWA. I graduated from CWA.
So you had a foundation going to CWA. You know what
I do. I do. I will be frank with you. At the time I went to CWA, it was at very best. The principal that we have at the time, I always can talk about him. They were very solid, and the vice principal at the time were very solid. And my teachers, there were nobody there that never had the subject matter area at their best. I had the best biology teacher. I had the best chemistry teacher. I had the best physics teacher. My English teacher, he had the bachelor's in English with composition skills at the best. So I would say at that time, I don't know about now, our class was a very super class. In fact, the Deputy Auditor General of the Republic of Liberia currently was part of that class. To tell you now how strong we had a class. You know, so I think there are schools in Liberia that are upholding, that are really doing well. If you have a good principal, a vice principal for academic affairs who is just there, the school can be good. But if you don't have those, don't waste your time sending your child there. It's a problem.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Joe. I know if you're just joining us, we have with us Joe Abimba, one of those who attended school in Liberia, and he had the opportunity to teach us well. I know there are some comments somebody want to call. Before we go to our next talking point, let us just address this from Gabriel Ball-Webbs. He said, I think I have a problem with what the discussant said concerning the composition. Okay, let me put this on the screen. I think you'll be able to see that. Composition in school not being tough. He did not do any survey from school to come out with finding to say what he said. He went to school in Liberia and he know about composition. Did he learn it from Liberia or did he learn it from America? Do you care to comment on that?
Yeah, Gabriel, I got your point. I understand. I did not do a survey, but and what I'm trying to give you here, I'm giving you experience, and I'm not saying that all schools. Maybe you will understand with me. All schools, the number of schools I taught in Liberia. I taught at elementary level. I've been a teacher in Liberia. Let me just make you understand. I taught in Liberia at elementary level. I taught at junior high level. I taught at senior high level. I taught at the university level. So not only that I taught at those levels, I also did a master's in education. All right. So and then not only that I did that, I had the opportunity to attend UMU. I attended University of Liberia. I attended Cottington. So you can see how broad experience I've had with the system, not only teaching. So I'm giving you my experiences. But I would tell you, and you just need to go in your community and go and look at the different high schools there. Go and see the qualification of the teachers at the different schools. I'm not saying all the schools don't teach composition, but the number of schools that get qualified English teachers in Liberia, not many. Not many. And that's just about it. And that is why our education system is at the bottom. We are at the bottom of the educational system. If you look at our own performance in reading, you need to pull out the data. When you look at the performance in reading and mathematics, you are not nowhere. We are not nowhere as a country. And the reason we are not nowhere as a country because it's a systemic problem. So if you look at the ranking countries in Africa, you look at your reading and math reading level. Just go with the reading and math reading level in Liberia. It's down. you know, and I'm just giving you a reason why that is happening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. I know we got a lot of people commenting around there. We'll come back to their comment, but let's complete our third talking point for tonight. I know you do a lot of writing. I follow you on Facebook, and you make a lot of comment on the Liberian political system. And there's election coming 2023. Do Liberians have alternative? If yes, what's the alternative? If no, should they stay with where they are right now?
I think the Liberians, there's really no clear alternative yet, because I've been analyzing the various groups. I'm one of those who listen, you know, late in the evening before I go to bed. I try to listen to all of the different, you know, group, whether in the morning, whether opposition, whether no opposition, ruling party, everybody. But what I foresee is, so for example, the CPP, you know, some of us still anticipating that there could be an alternative to fill in the gaps where the current regime, some of the gaps that the current regime is having problem. But from what I'm noticing, they are currently having a fracture, and that fracture they are having is not a minor fracture; it's a major fracture. All right, it's a major fracture. So, like now, they are not focusing on the main issues. The main issue that they should be focusing on, they are no longer focusing on those issues. They are focusing among themselves now. So the attention now is about them. It's no longer about the national issues. Number two, 2023 is far away. By this time, they should be able to have a clear agenda as to what their plans are, telling us, okay, here are the gaps, and here's what we want to do. Bam, 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 bam. Now, they have not yet been able to even come up with something yet. Now, the argument will be that the individual political party has something, but I have not seen anything tangible yet for us to look at and say, okay, here is an alternative vision. Now, even the incumbent government, they never really had a vision also as well. You know, they took over, they never had a vision. And we saw what happened. Later on, they crafted something very quickly. And we saw how in the first 3 years of their regime, we saw the crisis. The crisis in the first 3 years of their regime was very huge. But now,
can I interject? They got the pro-poor agenda.
The pro-poor agenda.
Why would you say that they don't have a vision? The pro-poor agenda is there. No, not the vision.
That agenda, they created it after they came to power. They landed to power now. They were in power and they were fighting back and forth. Now, if you even look at the pro-poor agenda, they are not really following the pro-poor agenda as it should. And the reason was because it was not something that was well thought of, well crafted, and say, okay, here is our plan. Now, one of the things I noticed that our politicians are not taking note of is whenever you are transitioning from one government to another, the other government that is coming should be really ready to move. And my fear for the CPP people here is that because they are not ready, they are having crisis. Let's assume their crisis continue. Let's assume they win. They are going to have a huge crisis, not different from what we had in the first 3 years. Part of the reason why we had a crisis in the first 3 years because he never had an agenda. They were struggling back and forth, back and forth. They struggled and it created tension, and that tension affected the entire country. You see what we're talking about here? So the CPP does not have a well-articulated plan. They are still fighting who to hear the ticket, whether Joe Boakai, whether Cummins. Now, I have said one person have to decide and say, hey, I will sacrifice for the sake of Liberia. Joe Boakai can say, I support Cummins. Cummins can say, I support Boakai. That's the only way that we have a very solid plan and move together. But as I'm seeing it, if Boakai decides to run alone, I don't believe Boakai can win the elections if he decides to run alone. If Cummins decides to run alone, I don't believe he can win the election if he decides to run alone. So they have to make a decision now and saying, okay, we're going to go as one. You know, because if you look at the demographic, you can't underestimate Cummins. Cummins have been working, to be frank with you. Cummins have worked From the day he lost elections, he's not giving up. Now, if they go to the polls and divide it in the second round of the elections, his supporters will not be willing to support Omen Boakai. Neither way, if Boakai goes to the second round, Kumi supporters will not be willing to support Omen Boakai. So if they want to really have a strong foes and want to show themselves to be an alternative, they need to quickly decide who has this ticket. Quickly, they need to do that. And like I told somebody, they should do that no later than December. So anything beyond December, in my opinion, it will be problematic. Because you know why? The incumbent has a problem. I agree, they have gaps. But one thing people need to understand, when you are already in power, it's easier to deal with a lot of issues. You have finances to your advantage. You are the largest employer in the country, especially in Liberia. So those are advantages that the current regime has to their advantage. And I can foresee they're going to use it to their advantage. You see, Jawia used the citizenship issue. He's not joking. This citizenship issue, that political issue. Jawia is trying to, gain support in the diaspora. He's trying to split the diaspora support. That's the implicit thing he's doing there. And because he noticed that that CPP is having crisis, he's smartly using everything to his advantage. Even the issue of the idol, the little boy, the boy who said, found the 50,000. There's something that he's trying to do there. He's trying to rebuild his image, at the expense of the crisis in the CPP.
I know. At the expense of a crisis in CPP.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest to the CPP if they want to be an alternative? You're talking about them having a ticket by December, which we don't see working because there's still a wrangling, there's still a fight on this issue. Somebody, there's something wrong with the framework agreement. Is that a critical issue for now, or they need to start on the right footing?
I think the whole framework agreement issue, I don't see it. I think the way they handle it was the problem, So I think the dispute resolution clause in the framework document, the way they drafted it, I think was the problem. I think they should have gone for arbitration to solve their disputes. That's why I would think they should have put in that framework document. In other words, that all other crises that they would have had among themselves, they should have settled the crisis in-house. All right. And that's why people do arbitration. When you hear about arbitration, sometimes we buy these things and say, oh, you agree to arbitration. One of the reasons why competitors do arbitration in law is because they know that information is power. So they are afraid that when they go to court with a customer and the litigation is going through, there are certain information that will come in court that will put them to a disadvantage. So I think in CPP framework, one of the mistakes, I think the lawyer did not really foresee this. They should have put in an arbitration clause so that they could settle their dispute through arbitration in-house in a diplomatic manner, so that it will have not put them to a disadvantage. But now they are outside there, and the battle is continuing. So my suggestion to them is Omen Boakai is now in charge. He has to quickly move, be very, very fast. I'm sorry, I've criticized him. People don't like me to say this, and sometimes the people have gone from Lofa. I think he's passive. He needs to be more active and more forthcoming with issues now. Between now and 2023, no longer being sitting down. He has to move. He has to get on his feet. So he needs to reconcile the CPP quickly. 2, he and Cummins need to sit down and say, gentlemen, brother Cummins, you and myself, going alone, Boakai has to accept the fact that if he goes alone, he's going to lose. Cummins has to accept the fact if he goes alone, he's going to lose. They have to come to terms with that if they really want to be together, because there's no way they can win the incumbent president going separate. I'm one of those who believe it. If any, I know other people disagree, but I don't agree. But I'm looking at the map. So Joe Boakai, if Cummins decides to go alone, he's going to lose Lofa. Lofa is not going to vote for him. Lofa will fall in the hands of CDC. And why will Lofa fall in the hands of CDC? Thomas Fala, Koji, and Sir Joseph, they are working there. They are talking in Lofa County there. Now, if Cummins has the ticket, Lofa County desperately wants to be president. That's my county. I have to accept the fact. So if Cummins is heading the ticket, it's easy for Sir Joseph and others to convince their brothers and sisters that, hey, Cummins is not from Lofa. We are from Lofa. We are sons and daughters in the CDC. So it will be easy for them to penetrate. Now, if Boakai has the ticket, Lofa will consolidate behind him. You understand what will happen there? So at the end of the day, it will be that way now. If Boake has the ticket, Cummins group will now want to support Boakai at the same time at the polls. And they need to come together. You see? So they need to come to terms, not only that they need to reconcile, then they need to decide who has the ticket. Somebody have to submit. All that, plenty talking thing and what they're doing, it's not going to solve the problem. Somebody have to say, for the sake of the country, I will support this candidate, because like I told somebody, whether Joe Boakai or Cummins, I don't think Joe Boakai is going to run after this election. That's my own, belief. Maybe he wants to, but if they mess up now, Liberians will blame them. I can see that happening. They're going to surely blame Cummins and Boakai. They are surely going to be blamed if they mess the opportunity up.
Great. If you want to be the alternative, you have to reconcile. I know we got a brother on the line. I guess he's been following us. We just want to do a couple of maybe response from our brother. Maybe you want to say something and he has something else you would like to chime in tonight or other issue. Brother, can you hear us? Brother Elisha Biamboa.
Yes, I'm hearing you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from all around the world.
I know you follow the discussion and you equally want to give us some information. Do you care to comment on a discussion before we proceed to what you have to say tonight?
Unfortunately, I was in another meeting, so I did not really follow the conversation, except if you want to update me, then I can have a response.
No, we can make just proceed. I know you have something you like to share before. Sorry, Joey, that we have to just boss in with something else. A brother has some organization because we have less than 5 minutes to go. We just thought to maybe take some comments from him. He have an organization called Boss, which is on Staten Island. He's the leader, he's the chairman, and they are celebrating. It's his second anniversary, am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Maybe he want to give out some information. Go ahead, Mr. Barr.
Thank you so much, Brother Fasa, and let me extend thanks and appreciation to your guests. Unfortunately, because of my engagement, I could not follow the conversation. I would have loved to really follow the conversation, and that would have put me in a better position to give my should I say suggestion or my thought. But however, I'm here about way of introduction. My name is Aloysius Biamboa. I'm the chairperson for a group that exists on Staten Island. The name of the group is the Brothers of Substance. Our motto is making a difference. We were established in 2019. And this month, the 7th, was our second anniversary. But because of the COVID, as we all know, all around the world, COVID have devastated activities, and Boss is no exception. So we were not able to celebrate on the main day, but notwithstanding the anniversary committee came up with 2 events to cover up our celebration. So this coming Saturday, which will be the 30th of October, our organization will be having an anniversary dinner, which is private though. We're not being selfish, but the committee planning in a way that we will be honoring our wives, because for every time we take off to go for meetings all through the month, because we meet every last Sunday, every last Saturday of the month, sorry, we take our family time to meet. So the committee decided that we should be able to use this second anniversary to honor our wives through our dinner. So on the 30th, we will be having um, a dinner in honor of our wives, where all of our members will be coming forth with their wives, and those that are not married will come with their significant other. And we will have a wonderful time. We will be appreciating them and making them to understand that, look, this is the group that we always attend the meetings and we take away the family time. This time around, the group want to honor them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Boa, for the information. And those who are part of us, look forward that you guys will have a very great time this weekend. Have a good night.
Yeah, hold on, Solo. I thought you were going to ask me, is there any other thing that you have to say?
Yeah, your parting comments, sir.
Well, thank you. I know it's kind of a selfish that we had to discuss this because it's now an open invitation, but I appreciate the opportunity from the platform to promote our organization. So our organization is called the Brothers of Substance, that I said is an organization put together, and we have all male membership of 21. Our intent and our goal is to make an impact in our community here on Staten Island, also back home. The records are there. During the COVID-19, we were able to identify with 2 institutions back in Liberia, disabled institution where we provide rice and oil. In America here, in Staten Island, to be specific, we were able to come out with over 250 sacks of water when there was scarcity in water. And we did that on our own, at our own expense. And we were able to drop all the water to the doorsteps of those of our elderly people and even some young people who did not have either the means to purchase, or our older folks who did not have the means to get out there. We also did that. So we are in the process of helping one another, and we are prepared to work with other institutions. To climax on our anniversary, on the next day, which will be Sunday, the 31st, we'll be having a Thanksgiving service at the Christ Assembly Lutheran Church located on 27 Hudson Street in Staten Island. And we want to use this medium to invite the public to come and celebrate with us. And we just want to use this time to also give a special appreciation to the Family Connection platform for giving us the opportunity. In the future, we'll have an open dinner or open event, but unfortunately for this is private and it is restricted to members of our organization and our wives, special significant, and those guests that we have extend invitation to. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, and we hope that we can have you on our platform after your.
Is the membership open?
Yeah, we can have you on. Do you know the mayor is asking? Is the membership open to other people? Maybe the mayor is asking right here in Jersey. Maybe is a membership open or your membership is close to 21?
Thank you so much. So the membership is open, and we are willing to accept people of like minds, people that believe in productivity in America, and also not forgetting where we all are from, our country, Liberia. We are not being selfish. There's a possibility that in the future we will have somebody who will join our organization from a different country, and will also extend our happy hand to that country. So yes, the membership is open. If you want to get in contact with us, you can get in touch with the host of this show, Brother Solomon, and he will be able to provide all of the information so that you can be able to get in touch with us. And trust me, The group is a wonderful group. We are there for brothers, whether you are moving, whether it's your birthday, whether it is your anniversary, whether it is your time of sorrow. Our group is there to stand along with you. And we will hope and stand ready for that invitation where we will come, not only talk about the anniversary, but we'll be talking about the group, the establishment,
Okay.
what are the things we've done in the past and what we intend to do in the present. I mean, in the future, rather.
Absolutely. We can negotiate that. Yeah, we will talk about that. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We want to apologize to our guest, Joel, for trying to interrupt or
Yeah,
some
it's
other
okay.
thing. But it was important because these are people that operate in our community and they are doing initiative. We thought that we should be receptive to them to make some comments on this Saturday. I know you already responded to this comment because we have to take some comment over there.
Yeah, I've not responded to him. I think
No, I saw you responding. You
said,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I wrote back. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So do you want to at least
for
those who listening?
Yeah, I got it.
For those who listening, do you care to comment?
It matters. It matters who has the ticket, all right? Because even if you get a policy, who is going to drive that policy matters. You could have a policy and somebody do not implement it. So I'm Joel Bemba. Maybe the policy you have, I'm not prepared to implement it. So there must be somebody who connect with the policy, who the people will say, okay, I see him and I believe that he can really implement the policy. So both matters.
Thank you so much. We want to say thanks to many of our followers tonight. We want to say thank you so much, Deacon Taylor Brown, for being out there and making your comments. I think he also alluded that he and Nimari Warner attended University of Liberia and they were colleagues. They did. I think this is one of his comments. He said, "Oh yes, it is the student, not the school." When you are discussing the issue of accountability and what have you, and
Tilly Brown is both. It's not just a student. It's both. It's the school and the student. Okay. And this is why if we follow, if you put that argument forth, then it will not really work. That is why you see people send their children to certain schools. There's a reason for doing that, because the curriculum of the school, the quality of the education, and whatever. And I believe that Tilly Brown, you will not just send your child to any school. I surely believe so. And the reason why you not do that, Tilly Brown, because you do not just believe that it's just about the student.
It's not just about the students. It's both. So it's play on both sides. So you were able to excel and maybe to survive the educational system in America because of your foundation. You want
to be frank with you, I have so many mentors that really shape me. Whether we're in the classroom and beyond the classroom, I have people who really, really shape me. And those things were an asset that have to drive me. Not every student have that opportunity that I have. So that is why a sound educational system would be the best to have, so that students that will not have other alternative, even outside the school system, they'll be able to, at least be able to be competitive. Like, for example, I have friends that I could go to and tell them and say, hey, and they'll be able to get me through a lot of things. And they will tell me, oh, this is what to do. Like, I have some American friends, back in Liberia, he would tell me what they expect, what kind of thing. Not everybody has access to the opportunity to ask those questions. So I think it's good to have a sound educational system, and then the student behavior also matters. Both matters.
Thank you so much, Brother Joel. I know time is fast spent, and we would love to have you another time when you are available. And
thank you.
We would love to take your parting comment for tonight. I know we talk about this issue of dual citizenship. You're able to give us your legal understanding of what it is. We also talk about the educational system. And we also talk about Liberian alternative, if there's any. But you are still not clear on the issue because you are dangling. You said the opposition and opposition are not even in a position yet to be the alternative. And even the ruling party who is there right now is not convincing that it can continue. So where do we stand? Where are we?
So there's a little, lack of clarity there. But I want to say my parting comment would be thank you for the program, and thank you to all our listeners. We can say for sure now, the dual citizenship issue, current policy says, hey, things are on course. So we happen to see that the George Weah regime, his justice minister is acting upon it, the foreign affairs acting upon it. So that's a great news for all of those in the diaspora who have children and you have other citizenship. Now you need to start going after your passports. And then let's work together and see what we can do for our country, the educational system. It's the advocacy, whether you can send a 5 cent, contribute. We need to do something with our educational system so we can make our country competitive, you know? So let's do what we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you so highly. And you being in a classroom before you go. If you are asked maybe to offer an online class from here, is that a possibility or you be able to contribute?
Oh, yes. If I think that's one thing the system could work on. There are librarians here that are very sophisticated. Online program will work. You can do one offer online class. I don't mind doing it.
But that's another challenge because the internet system it sucks.
That's the same thing we're talking about.
It sucks. We can't even have a good, reliable internet system and like that. That's another issue. So the online system is not a possibility. I don't know.
A student librarian should be able to log in the internet and be able to access Legon library, different libraries around the world. That's how it should be now. But we now,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brother Joe. We just want to say thank you to those who all follow us tonight, and we'll be back here next Sunday with another case. But until then, we want to say thank you so much for being there. On behalf of Leva, who is not here, we have a band who is on vacation. I hope you bring all the goodies. We want to say thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Lord, you are the most. Hallowed be the name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be the name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be the name.
You tell me, say me kind of that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working God. You make the blind man see. You made the